stop me from doing what I'm doing. First to that. And secondly, when I came out after so many times, I was stopped not to go out to earn. But when I did manage, I realized that women's situation is very bad. Girls' situation is very bad. So I felt that this, whenever I have any chance of being able to help, that would be my, this would be my mission, to help girls, to help women. And I felt also because of education that gives you very good thinking and analysis, so that was also that emphasis on education, that education makes a huge difference.
I'll get the mic to you so you can be correct.
Is anybody dealing with male illiteracy? Can that be a partnership kind of thing?
With some familiarity.
Male, with men,
Yes.
illiteracy.
वो ये कह रहे हैं कि male
Education.
is there a possibility for you to educate male
हाँ,
and influence them?
मर्दों को एजुकेट करना है ना, ठीक है
जी, जी.
Okay, I think our society is so male-dominated that without engaging men, you cannot make any difference. So it's extremely important to engage with men. And also, in our school also, we have boys as well as girls. But our emphasis is on girls because boys' schools you can find everywhere. There are very little number of girls' schools as compared to boys. So we do give emphasis now. Recently we have started how there is contradiction. Most of the time we are lost in the ritual, but we don't think on our behavior, how one should behave with each other, how compassionate, the lack of compassion. So, and then there is difference because ritual is also, important, going to mosque and saying 5 times prayer. But then when there is no honesty, there is cheating, then only ritual is not enough. So now we are trying that on human level, better that how you behave, how you act is more important. So now we are trying to do this with the boys also. I just give you example. We had a ceremony, and there are poor boys and girls. So they're Pepsi Cola. Pepsi Cola was and so they don't have Pepsi and Coca-Cola at home. So everyone had 3 or 4 bottles, and also they were stealing also the boys because it was first time they had. So the next day we had a session. I had a session with them. I said, who likes Pepsi Cola and how? And I said, I also love Pepsi Cola. And I said, I stole 3 bottles. And everyone said, we stole 3-4 bottles. And so I said, now you tell me, why did I steal 3 bottles? And then he said, because maybe like us, you also never had Pepsi Cola. That's why I said, so is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And then we had a very nice discussion. And then we came to conclusion that, because they were saying, if you had asked for 2nd bottle of Pepsi or 3rd bottle of Pepsi, would we be given the 3rd or 2nd, because we wanted to have 3 or 3 bottles. So this kind of discussion, stealing and giving tough time to your neighbor, and like we have one Sikh and we have one Christian staff, and how this exposure to different beliefs, exposure to different people who think differently than you. This kind of environment, creating this kind of spaces is extremely important, because back home, if you think differently or if you, then people don't like, because there is lack of forums to discuss and discuss things and to question and to, the thought-provoking ideas. There are very little opportunity. So we are trying that, people learn more and more to be together. Like this opportunity, I am here. This is such an working in church as a Muslim woman, so I will share that back home. We have also tried, when one of our British friends, she came, she took me in Oxford. There was 100 years of celebration last year in UK, and so they invited me over there also, and I spoke there. And then in Pakistan, I also invited a Mufti, Islamic scholar, and a British woman, to interact. Because if we do not create spaces, how would we know about each other? How would we know the differences, and how would we know the similarities? So we are trying to create such spaces where difference of opinion for learning, mutual learning.
Thank you.
Yes.
Diane?
Maybe this is a silly question or not an intelligent question, but I was wondering whether you had any direct contact with the Taliban, or are they just an enemy from afar, kind of like bad ghosts?
Yeah. Threats, yes. Many threats directly from Taliban. Many threats, so many times. And agencies also ask me to change the car, they ask me to change the office, they ask me to change the timings, and yes, and they ask me to, at the same time, I receive telephone calls, so direct threats, many threats, yes. But we also have had interaction, like one Taliban leader, when we were opening a school in that area, and so one Taliban leader, through community leader, not directly, through community leader, he said, okay, we won't allow them unless they give water in our madrasa. And so our condition was, okay, we are not a water organization, but we can link, the madrasa with a water department, and they can bring water, but that water will be in a girls' school. So you have to allow a girls' school. And so in that way, the girls' school was opened, and the water line came to that. And then they put a lot of condition that the women who are working with us have to wear, this burqa, and the timings that women will. So we listened to all conditions, and we accepted some of the conditions, and 1,600 girls were enrolled. And then when these girls were enrolled, but after some time in that area, because of drone attacks, so we had to close the school. We had to stop our activities. But then, as I said, this trust building was such a the trust building had taken such a deep impact on their hearts and mind that later on, after 1 year, these people again started calling us to again come and open the schools again. So now we are with Malala's fund. You know Malala? We have one school with Malala's fund in that area. Only one school, and it's very unfortunate, but Malala herself cannot come to Pakistan because of the same kind of threat. I feel that we should be, the change come from within. Indigenous change, organic change is needed. Unless you believe, unless you yourself, your heart and mind, you cannot impose change, and it cannot be imposed from outside. It has to come from within, and that is what we are trying. That we be there in there. As I said, how come our mind is changing? We have young girls who do not wear, like I am wearing. We have so many girls working for us because in Islam there is no imposition. It's all how you interpret it. The world is coming so close, but in many ways we are getting very far from each other. And it's not only, that you do business. I think it's more, humanity is more important. To me, when you think of winner and loser, it's not going to work like that. It has to be a win-win situation for all. If one person, if I say, no matter what, I have to win, that is not going to work. I think you have to think 3-4 times before you make into interaction. Is it good only for me? Is it only my motive, or is it for the betterment of all? And it's extremely difficult, because this is what is, girls' education is something which can bring, to me, if girls were educated in that area, we wouldn't have suicide attacks, because no woman would allow her son to become a suicide bomber. No woman, educated woman, would allow. In one of the villages where we are working, it's very sad, but after our interaction, one of her sons was in Saudi Arabia. He was, I think he was caught in heroin, smuggling heroin, and he was executed in Saudi Arabia, and so her daughter was coming to school, and so she was saying that one of my sons is executed over there, and the second one is going to has gone to jihad. And so she said, I have only these 2 sons. And so when we had interaction with the men, a long interaction, you won't believe 13 boys were brought back from jihad. 13 boys, they came back. Because the area is so remote, and it is so excluded, that it can be used for many wrong things, for crime, for all kind of things. And so one has to include, and just social justice is extremely important, education is extremely important. These are the areas where economically they are poor, literacy-wise they are poor literacy rate, other development has also not taken place. So that is why we are trying to work in those areas. And the more, as I said, change is coming, and so much has changed. When in the beginning we started working, I would not find a single girl to become a teacher. Now parents would not allow their daughter to work, and I would go and would do counseling with father, counseling with mother. Nowhere, wherever we would find a single girl educated, we would go to that house. Please allow your daughter to become a teacher. Now we are getting so many applications for jobs. So the whole, the context has changed. When girls are coming out to do work, and when previously it was like when one of the teacher was engaged and her husband was working in Dubai, and so when he came to know that his fiancée has become a teacher, he sent a message, no, I'm not going to marry you, you have become a teacher. And the whole school was dependent on that teacher. And so we went to fiancée's father, and the fiancée's, family, and I invited her mother-in-law to come into school and look at it. So with this hard work, you create a situation where now so many are coming forward. Now more and more need for better interpretation. We still lack good argument from Islamic perspective that we should argue for women empowerment. Yes.
I have a question. Working in the school system here, they are so a rich system here in the United States. How you get supply for the schools, and is United Nations is helping you, or how probably a country like this could, I will say, adopt schools over there, like they could do adopt this in Latin America, for example.
Yes.
It's beautiful. That would be a dream come true for school to school, adopt schools in Pakistan, especially in those rural areas that you're talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
What is the question?
Oh, she's interested in, to cut to the chase, most importantly, are there ways that a school over here could adopt a school, one of your
Yes,
schools?
yes, that is, this is what we are.
Yeah, and how that's a,
Yeah, how would-
how we could help, for example, send supplies or, you know, any way
Yes,
to
yes.
adopt, a school could adopt it, place over there.
Okay, we are in the process here. We have sister charity in UK Friends of Coimbatore. The name of our organization is Coimbatore, and we have a sister charity in UK. Now we are trying to have focus Friends of Coimbatore US here. And once that is registered, then we have a structure over here, and Usma is a member of that. And then I think through that is the reason that people to people understanding, and it's extremely important. So that there are many such examples are there, school to school, city to city, town to town connections are there. So it is possible.
Especially
I would-
now with the internet, you know, that the
Yes, yes, through
children
internet.
communicate with the schools
Yes,
over
yes.
there and
Children
share
can
ideas.
communicate. Children can communicate. Teachers can communicate through internet. And we have in those areas you saw the schools. In some of the schools we have in our office. In that video you saw that office where there was the windows were broken. In that we have a room which is a computer lab, and this teachers are connected with Islamabad because of security. The teacher trainer couldn't come from Islamabad, so we have an internet lab in that office. Through that, a booster, we fixed a booster to connect people, and teacher training is taking place now. So a lot of possibilities are there, and that would be wonderful.
What I'd like to add is that while the American affiliate is being set up, we have contact with Usma,
Yes.
who will be on the board of this new organization, so that we can work with her to find out. But more immediately, we have the name and the address of Kwandapur and the address in Pakistan.
Yes.
And during our alternative gift market in 2 weeks from today, and this is something we do every year, but we have charities that people can develop or that people can contribute to, so that you can give a gift. It's similar to Oxfam and charities like that, but we are going to include Kwandapur this year, so that people, when they contribute, they can check a box. We will have an insert, as we always do, with a Christmas card that you can take back, and you can give that as a gift to your friends. And again, the address, and that we will have in the bulletin next week, and we will get that out to you. But we will rely on Usma until things are formalized here. But hopefully, that's why I wanted to make the connection
Yes.
with our Sleepy
Yes.
Hollow
Yes.
day school here.
Yeah.
We just had a deer come to watch you speak.
There is back up there.
Yeah. And that's what we learned about this.
Run away.
We have a couple of questions.
I don't have a question, I just wanted to tell you that we will specifically be sponsoring at the youth table one of the charities for Pakistan. You got it?
But that's not wonderful.
No, I understand that, but that we specifically are sponsoring Pakistani charity at the youth table
Okay.
with the alternative gift market.
What he was saying is that part of our alternative gift market, we always have a youth table. People donate baked goods, and the money frequently goes to support youth activities in our church, usually the trip that they make, social service, community opportunities. But this year there will be a charity in Pakistan
Pakistan for the youth.
for youth, youth to youth. But Quandacor will be a separate line. You had something, Alicia?
Why in Islam women have such a different position than men?
The question was, why in Islam do women have a different position than men?
Why in Islam women have different positions?
Is it religion or culture?
Like, what do you mean by different?
Women are treated differently, right? You don't have the right to be educated, you have to fight for the
I don't think that as a human being in Islam, men and women are equal. Just like in every as you know, in Quran, there is nowhere it's said that woman is less human being.
So it's cultural.
And spiritually, I went to Hajj twice. No difference.
Pilgrimage.
I have to have 5-time prayers. If I can earn, I have to pay zakat. Zakat, you know.
Charity.
Yeah. So there is no
Zakat
difference.
is charity.
It's not. No, it's not. The only, biologically, like any woman, she produces babies and men cannot. That is across the board for everyone. So I haven't seen any from Quran or from Islam. That is what our struggle is.
So is that Pashtun culture in your area?
There is a very Shaheen Sardar Ali. She's a professor in Warwick University in UK, and she has written a book. It's Equal Before Allah. And she's
Equal
modern,
before God.
and it's very, very, if you read that, Equal Before Allah. She wrote that long ago, but this is what we are lagging behind in more and more learning, but I came to this conclusion myself by pursuing why I am stopped from education, why I am stopped from. So I realized by reading it, I'm very much equal, and I wouldn't like to become a man.
But is that a cultural thing among
Yes.
Pashtun
Yes, it's a cultural thing.
and in certain countries?
That's what I think I wanted to clarify. I'm not so sure that the question is, does Islam treat women different, but rather, why is it that so many people have exploited Islam in order to require women to be subordinated from everything to how you dress and what you must wear, as the Taliban forced you to agree to how you present, and so how did it get to this is the way things are?
If I correctly got the point, that
How come if Islam doesn't say that the world is like that?
okay. I think if you even in that documentary I said it's political, and it's not limited only to Islam. I think many religions have exploited the people in the name of religion. I think it's not only Islam. If you see, it's extremely powerful, and when it's powerful, you can use it both for good and you can use it both for bad. And due to ignorance, economic people take benefit of those conditions, and that is why education is very important. So to me, Islam is all peace, and the first verse of Quran is Iqra. The first verse of Quran is Iqra. That is what when Muhammad got the first verse, revelation. It's Iqra. Iqra means read. He was not an educated person. He was illiterate. But the first first read. And then that means that education, compassion. If we have compassion, never ever, I would do anything. A freely educated person and with compassion will never ever do anything bad against anyone else. This is what I believe. And same in Islam, it is peace. And we are our own enemy. I like what Rumi said. Rumi, you know about Rumi, and he said, God told me, surrender to your enemy, and I surrender to myself. So we are
Worst enemy.
So we have to have our egos. We have jealousies. We have to think beyond that at humanity level. All religion to me are the same. Differences with, I have 4 children, everyone is different than the other one. They fight. Some believe in one political party, the other one in different political party, and they fight. So, diversity is what is beauty. And how to learn, to tranquility within the diversity. That comes only with education and interaction. And in Islam, there is no imposition. In Quran, so many times it is written that there is no imposition in Islam, and our people impose. That is why Islam should not be judged by the people. Islam should be judged.
Thank you so much. I know we could stay here and keep you captive for all afternoon, but
Thank you
I know
so
you
much.
have other things. Thank you so much for coming.